What's up, everybody? Corey Ramey, your host of the Wisconsin Investor Podcast. What if I told you guys that by saving $5,000 on your next project, it's actually costing you $50,000, $100,000? I'm going to talk about that today, guys, on today's episode. So hang with me through this whole thing. Hopefully this will make some sense. Some of you guys are going to feel pretty defensive today, probably, and like I'm poking the bear a little bit. And that's by design. Where this is coming from, this episode today, guys, I get to have some conversations with some of you guys out there listening to the show. So I appreciate those conversations. I also get to have a lot of conversations with people on our team, and pretty much everybody on our team is also an investor. And so it's great when I get to sit down and have some one-on-one conversations and really just try to unpack our team's goals in their life and what they have going on, and really get an understanding of their goals outside of our company as it relates to their real estate businesses. And so a lot of this is stemming from some of those conversations. And what I'm finding is that there's a lot of resistance to this concept, and it's great because it opens up some great conversations. But most investors are making this mistake on every single deal, and it is costing, if it's you, so much. So what's happening? Okay. What I'm finding is if you're a newer investor out there, and maybe not, but if you're a newer investor out there and you are in swinging hammers, or your spouse is in swinging hammers on a property because you want to save $5,000 or $10,000 on it because you think you have to in order for you to be profitable on the deal, then there's some issues. Okay. And I would just encourage you guys right now, look at your goals that you're setting for 2026. And if it involves anything more than one deal, this is a concept that can help make you infinitely more money with way less headaches and way less stress. Now, there are still going to be headaches. There is still a learning curve to this, just like anything. Okay. You're going to have to grow and expand and become a different person than you are today if you're not currently doing this. But you will be a different person and a better person at the end of 2026 if you implement what we're going to talk about today if you're not currently doing this. All right. And so I'm talking about, again, getting in, swinging hammers, doing demo, doing painting, laying floors, any of that kind of stuff. You know, it might feel like it's like the responsible thing to do, right? Or another thing I hear a lot of times from you guys out there is that you really enjoy it. Okay. And that's awesome. If you enjoy it, that's great. Like, some people like mowing their lawn, and it's like one of the things, like, economically, would it make more sense for some people to go do something else during that time and hire somebody to cut their grass? Yeah, most likely, especially if you're a business owner, entrepreneur. If you're doing real estate, by the way, you are a business owner, just so you're aware. So start thinking like a CEO is going to be another concept that we talk about today. So my point is, if you're out cutting your grass because you enjoy it, okay, that's one thing. We know financially it's not the best thing. When we start looking at real estate, though, this could be a trap. And this is one of the biggest traps. Luckily for me, I'm not handy at all. So I don't have any temptation to get into any of these properties and do anything, right? Like, I want nothing to do with that. That's a blessing for me because I get to sit back and think more like I have who problems typically. Those are my problems. And when I say who problems, there's a great book called Who Not How. I've talked about it on several of these episodes, but it's a pretty simple concept. Really, anytime you catch yourself thinking that you have a what problem, you really have a who problem, or a how problem, you have a who problem. It means you just need a who, somebody who's really good at that thing to implement. And the biggest objections I'll get to this is I don't have it in the budget to do that. We need to make as much money as possible on this deal because whatever your financial situation is, right? That's the justification. And then the other justification is I just really enjoy doing it. Okay. So we're going to dispel some of those things today and discuss those things. One of the things for you guys to realize out there, again, if you have goals and aspirations of more than a deal this year, in real estate, speed is money. Okay. Slowing down, if you're trying to do this on your own, you're going to bottle up more interest if you're borrowing money. You're going to have delays, missed opportunities, lower returns. So if you look at your profit per hour, my guess is it's going to be quite a bit lower if you're in there doing the work versus even if you make less on the deal, but you hire everything out and you get really good at finding good who's, your money is going to be well spent. That is scalable. That is something you can create an entire business around. But the moment you step in a project to save money, your entire business starts slowing down. And I can speak from that from personal experience. I'll just talk about our wholesale business as an example. I was really fearful when I got started wholesaling to hire anybody because, it's the control thing, right? Like, oh, nobody could do it as good as me. Or, Carrie, my wife, who was doing all the marketing stuff, well, nobody will really understand how to do this. And so she has to be the one to do it. But anytime we were in the business, we were bottlenecking it. And that is where we cannot grow. We can't scale until we remove ourselves as the bottleneck. Even if you get 80% as good as you are, that allows you now, that frees you up, your 100% of you, to go do something else. So really, you're getting 180% return on your time because now you have an 80% capable person in doing the job. And now you can take your 100% effort and go do what you're good at, or go build a new skill that will create more revenue for you, or whatever the case is. Okay. The other thing I'm finding too with some of our folks out there is they're busy. Like, they're working for us full time. They've got families. So they've got kids involved in all kinds of different things. They've got a marriage to try to maintain. They're getting pulled in all kinds. They have friendships that they're starting to lose potential friendships because they don't have enough time anymore because they think they like doing the work. Meanwhile, it's just causing stress in every area of their life, right? And so I would encourage you guys, if that's you out there and you can relate to this, like, how do you justify really liking to do some of this work or doing it to save money when you have a million other things going on, right? It's never going to, the money is good, but it's never going to sustain. You're never going to sustain growth in this business if it's causing you stress in other areas of your life. So take an audit of that. If this is you and you're out running around, you're swinging hammers, you're painting, you're doing different things in these projects, really ask yourself, like, do you really love doing that more than you like spending time with your family? Do you really love doing that more than the paycheck that you get if you do a good job of finding some who's to do this? Do you really love doing that, versus being able to focus on your day-to-day job and really be the best you can at the place you work right now? You look at anybody who's really successful in any business, typically, if they have a great, work-life balance, or whatever you want to call it, they have freedom, they have financial freedom, not just time freedom, but financial freedom from stress and the bills and all that sort of stuff. Rarely, if ever, are they the one doing the do, right? And so some of you guys out there, this is going to be a tough self-worth conversation. Like, you're going to have some instant defensiveness. That's like, some of your bodies are tensing up right now as you listen to this, and you're getting a little bit angered, and that's okay. But you really got to take an audit and say, is it really like a deeper thing for me? Like, I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to be a CEO of a company or to run my own business and treat it like a business, right? Ask yourself the truth on that, because you are capable of it. We all are. It's just a set of skills. And none of us know what we're really doing in business. It's all made up, right? We make it up as we go. We get coaching, or we steal from other people and what they're doing that's successful. We listen to podcasts like this. But the vast majority of the people out there that are successful in business, they don't have degrees in this stuff, right? They don't come from families that grew up in this, right? They just figured it out, and they fail forward and they make it up as they go. But a lot of the people grow themselves too. And so for you guys, maybe it's a mindset thing you have to do this year, and grow your self-worth and work on yourself to get yourself in that mindset of, like, I am a business owner. I am capable of growing and scaling a business to whatever I desire it to be, right? And start to really get a new identity here in 2026 about who you want to become. Okay. Again, I go back to the project thing. One thing that came up with one of my members of my team is they really enjoy, they're handy. They like it. It's kind of like therapeutical for them. But yet in the next breath, it was causing stress in their family life. And they felt like they were stretched too thin. They didn't have time for friends anymore because they're over at this property nights and weekends trying to get it completed as quickly as they can to maximize the amount of money that they're making, right? And so one of the solutions to that we'll talk about here that we came up with for this individual is we said, hey, what if you could just, and they also like to do it with their kids, right? They like to bring the kids, and they, feel this sense of Like they're teaching their kids sustainability, able to learn some of the skills and that sort of stuff. And there's a ton of value in that as well. That doesn't have to be forever. Okay, I'll just tell you that. If you want to bring them to a couple projects, go do it. Great. My rebuttal or my question I asked our teammate was, what if you could just be at home, get some lumber, and go build a fort with the lumber, or go build something that your boys are going to enjoy to do, or just let them tinker around and show them some skills with some of that stuff versus having to take them to a property. You could have somebody there making making all of the money for you, doing the work while you're at home spending time with your boys. It doesn't have to be an either or thing, and you can still be handy and use your things. You can just do it at home on your own schedule. You won't have to feel like you have to go and do it at this property. Now, there's kind of an art to some of this stuff too. Some of you guys like the art of it, of getting in and seeing, that, hey, I took this turd and I was the one that made that. I would encourage you, just pick something in the property, then pick one project. You don't have to do the whole thing. Pick one thing. Okay, I want to do the countertops, or I want to do the flooring. I really enjoy that. Great. Pick that, but don't get sucked into doing the entire thing. Okay, don't feel like you have to do it. And I would encourage you to have somebody who can do that job for you as well, because what if you really enjoy doing that and you get sick, or you get injured, or one of your kids gets sick, or your wife gets sick, or whatever, and it's a serious thing. You get injured, right? I think about like chiropractors. Oddly enough, a good buddy of mine up here in Door County, he's a chiropractor, and he hurt his back, which is kind of funny in a way. Like, not funny that he hurt his back, but ironic, I guess, is the right word. But he couldn't do his job because he hurt himself, right? And so you look at that, it's like, cool, yeah, if you're on the money side of things, like, you might be quote unquote saving some money by doing the work yourself until you get injured, or until your kids are into all kinds of different things, and pretty soon they go, hey, dad, or hey, mom, I don't even know you anymore because you're gone all the time at this property, and I'm over here running around, like, going to this sporting event thing and doing these different things. And now you're playing this tug of war between having to choose your kids and your family life, or choosing to do it for your kids. Well, this is another thing I would struggle with a lot in business, and I still do to this day, guys, is I get up in front of these different organizations and you talk about your why, right? Everybody who's presenting, like when I go to masterminds and they have to present, they'll say, here's my kids, here's my family, this is my why, right? And I realized one time it was complete BS, right? Now, I love my kids and I love my family, but if I was really doing an honest audit of why I work so much, or why I think I have to work so much, it's really deeper rooted stuff. It goes back to worthiness, childhood things, all these different at the subconscious level programs that are running ourselves. It really had nothing to do with like my family and my kids. Yes, I want to make money and all this sort of stuff so that we can have time freedom and all that sort of stuff. But it was really for myself. I find work sometimes as a distraction from other things. It's a comfortable thing for me to, just slide into and do. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're getting into some of these properties and you're quote unquote working hard for the kids, working hard for the family, for my why, right? And I'm not mocking you. I'm more mocking myself, because I used to say this. And it's really more for yourself, right? It's maybe a way for you to escape. It's a way for you to justify not having to be present. It's a way for you to feel like your own self-gratification versus, really for your family. So ask yourself if you're truly doing it for your family or not. Because if you are, what we're talking about here today will hopefully hit home for you. And you'll see how it's actually costing you and your family quite a bit of money to have you in swinging hammers. Okay. Looking at some of the numbers here, guys, just a quick example. Okay. If you're in doing the projects, most likely, if you don't have good who's, because you're the one that wants to control everything, you are going to find that it's going to cost you more time. All right. Now, we're going to just talk about on the surface, just the hard costs here. Okay. The hard numbers. Let's say you got a $300,000 loan at 12% interest. So you got a hard money loan out there. All right. It's 300 grand. Easy math. That's 1% a month. Okay. So hire it out. Let's say you get some good who's that can knock this thing out. They're there full time because you're working full time. You got family, all this other stuff. They get it done in 3 months. Okay. That's $9,000 in interest. All right. Let's say it takes you 6 months trying to quote unquote save money. Okay. You're going to make more on the flip. Okay. Now it's $18,000 actually $12,000, right? No, $18,000. Yeah. It's $18,000 of interest. Okay. So that's $9,000 extra because you're trying to save money. All right. So you actually just lost $9,000 just in interest, but that's just the start. Okay. This is where we were talking about like you're missing out on $50,000 potentially. So your carrying costs now double. So you've got extra insurance, property taxes, utilities, all those sort of things. Consider that another couple grand, maybe 3 to 6,000, depending on property taxes and utilities and what time of year and all that sort of stuff it's in. Now you've also got potential market shifts. Okay, so right now when you're running your ARVs, you're basing it off of the most accurate data to the date that you're going to purchase that, right? The longer things go on, that can work in your favor or against you. Okay, so if the market shifts and the comps go soft, rates move, seasonality, like I'm feeling that right now. I listed some properties. I have a lakefront property. We listed it for $420,000. Listed it in September. Still sitting, guys. This is December. All right. No offers, nothing going on with it. I really strongly believe if I would have listed that in July, it would have been gone by September. So that seasonality thing can really be a factor as well. So pay attention to that here in Wisconsin, because that is a real thing. All right. But you can lose 5, 10, 15 grand just on some of that stuff happening. Okay. Now, years ago, pre this year, I would say that actually could have worked in your favor of it sitting for a while, right? Like if you waited a while, that may have actually helped you in some cases because property values were going up so quickly that you could think, man, this house is going to be a $300,000 ARV. And by the time you go list it, it's a 320. Okay. Now that's not the case in today's market. All right. Things are a little bit softer. Properties values are stabilizing. And so they could even go, we don't know what the next 6 months is going to bring. They could even start to dip even further. All right. This is the big one. I think that you can't really calculate this. You can make up some scenarios about it and you can get some hypotheticals going, but the opportunity costs. All right. This is a big, big one. All right. Example, Wisconsin discount properties this year, as of the time I'm recording this, we had over almost 230 properties that we had under contract. Now, 180 of those made it to the buyer's list so far. A factor of some of them we flipped ourselves. Some of them we just canceled because they weren't, good deals for you guys. So we get them under contract, underwrite it, and we go, nah. Title issues that came up before they ever hit the list, things like that. Okay, so point is there was about 180 deals that came out to you guys so far. As I'm recording this, we still have a few weeks left in December. So it'll probably be closer to like 190 deals that you guys would have had access to just on our buyers list. That's not any other wholesalers. That, if you're not here locally in our area, if you're, in the Madison area, Eau Claire, Hayward, wherever you are listening to this, right? Just whatever your deal flow potential is there. You got MLS deals that you're probably not looking at, right? If you're busy at work all day, you got kids stuff, and you're running around trying to get this property done, chances are you're probably not looking for another deal, if I had to guess. All right. So, problem is you could have potentially missed out on, let's say you got it done in 3 months. That's 3 more months you have to be looking for deals, making offers, lining up more lenders, lining up more contractors, all that sort of thing. And you could be really, if you're hiring this out, this opportunity cost gets even bigger of a loss because in that 3 months that you're project managing, if you get a good rhythm going with your who's, your subs or whoever you're using for this stuff, now you're the whole time, instead of you having to take that free time that you would have had spent at the or looking at properties, making offers, that sort of stuff, you're spending going to the property to fix it up. So you really get like 3 months. Actually, you get like all of your time back, and you start to focus on the 3 things I always talk about here to make yourself super, super wealthy. Okay. And that is find deals, find money, and find people to do the work for you. Those are really the 3 areas in real estate. This business is very, very simple. It's not easy. Okay. It comes with a lot of challenges. Otherwise, everybody would do this, right? But it is very, very simple when we boil it down. It's those three buckets. So find deals, find money, and find people to do the work for you. Those three things. Okay. Now we get into your time, right? As we talked about, is worth money, guys. So like every hour, like we said, you're spending money flooring. You're not marketing. You're not negotiating. You're not raising capital. You're not hiring. You're not team building. You're trading like CEO work, which is all those other things, for contractor work. And again, I just encourage you guys, if you've ever hired a contractor, and this is no disrespect to my contractors out there, but my contractors out there, listen to this message as well. I've never met a contractor that's in doing the work that's super wealthy. There it is. It just hasn't happened. If you're a contractor out there and you are super wealthy, chances are you have people doing the work for you, right? You're up there. You're the one doing the marketing or acquisitions or getting new deals or hiring people to do those things and focusing on building your team and your culture. You're not in swinging hammers, doing whatever your contractor work is. So same for you guys out here in the real estate world, as we talked about. You're missing out on so much future growth and so much future potential. Now, the other factor here is potentially lower quality. Okay. Now, this is probably more for me. Again, if I was in swinging hammers, but if you're like me and like you're not handy, but you're going to go try to save some money, chances are, again, it's going to be slower. You're going to have lower quality, more mistakes, more rework that has to get done. I've shared this on previous episodes, but just a quick story to share with you guys. 2017, we were doing a bunch of flip. We had like 5 flips going, and it was winter time. We're just getting into winter, and we had some shutters. I mean, this is such a simple project, guys. This is just an example of how this stuff costs money. Okay. We had shutters on the outside that were pretty faded by the sun. And so my wife and I were like, hey, let's go spray paint those. We did it on a different project and they turned out great. We just spray paint them and they come out looking like brand new shutters and you put them back on. Simple, easy, right? I go back to go put it on. Again, it's cold. So the vinyl on the shutters, plastic on it, is pretty brittle. And I go drive my first screw, just screw it back in, and I go too fast and I crack the shutter. And I had to go bring it into the contractor and just kind of like put my head down and hand it over to him and say like, hey, Andy, sorry, man. Could you fix my mess up? And he sent me home. He said, get out of here. You're just costing yourself money by being here. So I learned that lesson pretty early. Again, if you're really handy, you might argue with me on this and say the opposite, right? You might say, no, I do better quality work than anybody else can do it. And I will tell you that is, again, another one of your Achilles heels. That is another thing preventing you from growth. It's actually, you think in your head that is a strategic advantage that you have, is that you can pump out better quality stuff cheaper than somebody else can, but it's holding you back because you're the bottleneck. You're the person that has to do it. Again, look at any business owner, guys. I don't care what it is. Anybody who's ever been good at something, they're not in doing the actual day-to-day stuff. Okay. So looking at overall, just kind of adding up some numbers here. So we talked in this $300,000 example, just to kind of circle back and add this up. We had $9,000 of extra interest by going another 3 months. We've got extra carrying costs. Let's call it $3,000, $3,000 to $5,000. So what are we at? Like, call it $14,000. All right. If we lost out on, the market went soft or whatever, who knows? That could be another 5 to 10 to 20 grand. Let's just call it another 5. There's 19 grand because property values dipped. Now the really big one, let's just say we missed out on one deal that would have been a really good solid deal for us because we weren't in a spot where we could make another offer. That's another $30,000. All right. So we're at, what is that? $49,000 right now. Just in this little example that we're running through. Again, that's just one potential deal that you guys missed out on. If you're building scale or anything else, that could be literally hundreds of thousands of dollars it's costing you because you want to save a few $1,000s on this potential flip project. All right. One of the little sayings I always like out there, guys, like real estate doesn't reward the cheapest investor, it rewards the fastest investor. Speed kills in real estate. So I'm encouraging you guys this year, build your team, go from contractor to CEO. All right. You got to stop thinking like a hustler. Like I got to get in and do everything. I got to be the one to do it. Start thinking like a CEO this year. Your job isn't to be the best painter. out there. Okay. It's to run a business, right? And you're going to have to hire people that can move faster than you can. And most of them will be able to move faster than you can if you're working a job and you have a family. All right. You know, you're not going to be able to scale this to anything of any kind of significance if you're the one in doing the thing. Okay. And every time you pick up that hammer, you know, you're really putting down things that could actually make you wealthy, which is, again, building your skills on hiring, finding people, finding money, finding deals. Okay. Here's a little filter I want to give you guys. So you can run every future decision through this filter. If I save X amount of dollars doing this myself, does it cost me more than X in speed? All right. So figure that out. Like, what is, if I'm saving money over here, or I think I'm going to quote unquote make more on this particular deal, is it actually costing me more in speed? And it's just hopefully a good thing for you just to be like, if you hear yourself asking or saying, oh, if we do this, this, and this ourselves, we'll save X. Stop yourself and say, wait, I remember Corey said, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe what is it costing us to do this? A big example of this, guys, comes in for me. 2026, my goal is really to be more focused in different areas of my life and not get so distracted. As an entrepreneur person, my issue is always like wanting to do too many things and take on too many new things and learn new things. I really want to focus on growing and scaling our team in a responsible manner and just being super laser focused and dialed in on what we do really well and try to eliminate the distractions. So in a way, I'm really getting out of going and doing a new thing myself and trying to just focus on building and scaling my who's this year and really focus on the who's, not the how's, and empowering people on our team, hiring new people that are going to be great fits for our culture, for our company, and for anything new that I plan to take on. It's going to be through a who, not a me having to do it. That is the goal. All right. The next actionable thing, guys, I talk about this all the time with people on our team, but your time is worth money. All right. Even if you're brand new, you're worth at least $100 an hour. So anything less than $100 an hour that you can hire out, hire it out. All right. And if you're like, oh, I'm not there yet. Like, I work a job, I make, 25 an hour at my job. Great. That's cool for your daytime job. Right. But you running a business, you're a CEO now. All right. Even if it's just you starting this business right now, you're making the decision, you're starting it. Your time is worth at least $100 an hour. So stay focused like $100 an hour CEO. Or if you're making extra income already in real estate, figure out what it is per hour. What is your profit per hour? What is your hourly wage worth? And then outsource other things. All right. So hire faster this year, outsource faster, let go faster. So get contractors if you need admin, bookkeeping. This is another big one. I was talking to Greg Newman a while back, who was on the podcast. Big struggle they're having. They're still doing their own books. That is a very easy one to outsource and to get off your plate and free you back up to be doing things like finding deals, finding money, and finding who's. Okay. Speed creates wealth, guys. The right people are going to create speed. So don't be that investor who spends 6 months bragging about how, oh, we saved $5,000 or $10,000, and you're silently losing $50,000 to $100,000. All right. Again, remember, real estate, this game is going to reward the people who move the fastest. So you're going to have to trust people. You're going to get burned if you start doing this, by the way. I'm telling you guys, this is not all, amazing right out there. You're going to get burned. It's going to happen. I've definitely been burned more than my fair share of times, but I will tell you what, like the flip side of that is if you keep going and you keep getting better and you keep learning and you keep growing at it, it's a lesson well learned. It's better than me being in, let's just say, making the mistakes and being the bottleneck in the business. So I would encourage you guys this year, choose speed, choose leverage, and choose leadership, right? Learn to lead, learn to delegate, and learn to delegate effectively. Those are going to be I'm telling you guys, those are the biggest levers that you can pull, is you can leverage other people in any business. And again, if you're out there and you're running a contracting business or any other kind of business, chances are, if you're in doing the work, you're not growing where you want to be. You don't have the freedom that you want to have. you don't have the wealth that you want to have, you don't have the options that you want to have, you're missing that sort of stuff. And it's going to come by letting go. It's going to come by building people up, finding the right who's, and getting out of the way, and quit being the bottleneck this year. All right. So guys, hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully I stirred something up in you if you are one of those people that's the bottleneck right now. And hopefully I didn't piss you off too much today. I hope I stirred it up, but didn't make you too upset today. But it's one of those things I had to hear, and I have to constantly keep doing. So as I'm doing this episode, I'm really preaching to myself as well. Like I said, this has been a big revelation for me, just as I'm trying to grow our business even more. Is a lot of times I get caught up in like, I have to be the one to do this, or I have to be the one to do that. And the minute I let it go, and the minute I find a who to do it, it frees me up to then do something better and something more significant. Maybe not better, maybe better is the bad word, but more significant, something that makes a bigger impact on myself, on our family, on our team, on our customers. And so I'm really encouraging you guys this year, lean into that, do an audit today. Where am I the bottleneck? Where do I need to get out of the way if I want to scale? Where am I costing myself a ton of money or opportunities or time freedom or family freedom, right? The other thing to remember, guys, and this is again me preaching to myself here, is if you have kids, they're only little for so long. They're only going to want you for so long. All right. If you're out doing these projects, and again, you can bring them with you, and that's great. They're going to learn some life lessons and that sort of stuff. But wouldn't it be great to teach them how to run a business? Wouldn't it be great to teach them how to be an entrepreneur and not a laborer, right? Not a skilled, build the skills, but wouldn't it be great to teach them how to learn people, and how to learn how to find who's, and how to hire people, and how to scale that? Wouldn't that be a cool skill to teach them, right? And if you don't know how to do that yet, maybe that's the challenge you need to have for 2026, is how do you build those skills to learn how to hire the right people or find the right who's to get you get out of your own way and scale something of significance that can be something of legacy, that can be something of impact. So again, guys, hope today was impactful for you. I hope this message gets through the right way. And again, if you get some value out of this show, guys, please share the show. That really helps me get out into more people and make a bigger impact. That's one of, again, my goals in 2026 is I want to impact more people than we have done in 2025. And through this podcast, my hope is that this is a tool that allows people to further their lives and grow their lives. So share the show, guys. If you're on YouTube, or you can go to YouTube, please subscribe to us and comment on this episode. Let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and anything you want for future episodes. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, guys, we're really looking to get those reviews up and those ratings up. So please take a few minutes. It really means a lot to me if you can leave us a rating or review. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're having a great day. And let's make 2026 your best yet.